Every Apple September's event makes competitors tremble. Every single year, the guys from Cupertino set the trend for all modern smartphones. First it was Siri, then Touch ID, followed by Face ID, but no matter how phones change, one question remains the same every year: which iPhone should you buy? After all, some smartphones become cheaper, others are forgotten, and today we'll discuss which iPhone to buy after the release of iPhone 14. Let's start from afar with iPhones you shouldn't buy under any circumstances. iOS will give us a hint here. With the release of new devices, Apple also made a new operating system available for everyone, and this iOS 16 update did one very important thing: completely threw away a bunch of older iPhones. With a single finger snap, Apple took all sense from purchasing an iPhone 7. Yes, these iPhones are ancient now, real dinosaurs. But the same cannot be said about the iPhones 8 and 8 Plus. Fortunately, this year's update did arrive to these outdated devices, but by looking at Apple's logic, we can assume one thing: these iPhones will not receive iOS 17. But not just 8 and 8 Plus, but also an iPhone 10. These phones, despite representing two different generations, were introduced in the same year and have similar internals. These phones do not even have all the features of the last iOS. 10s and 10R can be a good purchase because they do get all the iOS features and can be picked up at a very tasty price. But that's where an iPhone 11 knocks down the door, an amazing smartphone from every angle. I am now trying to find the downfalls of this phone, but nothing comes to mind except an outdated design. Comfortable, ergonomic, yet outdated. Oh, maybe the screen bezels are too thick, but the design and bezels are a subjective thing. Some people are fine with that. I can say one thing about this device: despite being over 3 years old, it does feel great. Even on the latest iOS, everything is snappy and blazingly fast. When was the last time you saw a 3-year-old Xiaomi smartphone that rocked the newest Android? I can't recall a single one. Okay, an iPhone 11 and its camera, 12 megapixel main sensor, 12 megapixel wide angle, night mode. The night mode isn't the gem of this phone, but it's a good thing to have. 4K video on all cameras, portraits and stuff, and all that can become yours for as low as $300. $300 for a fully working, fully supported iPhone. Shut up and take my money. Next is the iPhone SE. I hope you weren't considering any generation of this phone because it's not a phone I would choose. Yes, it's the iPhone 8 on steroids, supercharged by the latest chip, but this phone got me thinking: is there a deeper reason to ditch the mini iPhone? You see, Apple likes to take one model out and in a few years present it like a novelty. This happened to Plus labeled iPhones. We had 6 Plus, 6S Plus, 7 Plus, and 8 Plus, but we've never got 10S Plus. Only Max models, which ended up becoming Pro. The guys at Cupertino brought this form factor back only with the iPhone 14 Plus. This gave me an idea. What if the iPhone mini will be reimagined into something like an iPhone SE 2024 or 2025? And then everything will fall into place, because right now the iPhone SE feels old and redundant, with thick bezels, Touch ID, single camera, and so on. The only thing that brings me joy when talking about an iPhone SE is its price. Apple retails it for $429 and other vendors ask for less. Even so, I would still prefer spending a few dollars extra and getting an iPhone 11. Used, it costs almost the same as SE but offers much more. I'm pretty tired of the old button center design. Therefore, sorry SE lovers, I will not recommend this phone. Next on the agenda is the iPhone 12 and 13. Yes, I don't want to discuss these two smartphones separately because they are very similar, with only one extremely important difference. I think that no one will argue on their looks. Both 12 and 13 have a very elegant, almost seductive design. They fit perfectly in the hand and are very pleasing to the eye. But inside we see different chips, each with benefits. The A15 found in the iPhone 13 is faster than A14 in the 12, but it's hotter. Somehow all chips from 2021 are getting hot. So if you weren't planning on long gaming sessions, the iPhone 12 may be a better deal. In terms of raw power, the difference is minimal, but A14 is cooler and throttles less. The entire 13th lineup is subjected to this issue. Of course, it's not a deal breaker, but our team has all phones from that lineup, and we have a few complaints. The phones heat up fast and stay hot long enough to feel discomfort. Also, the screen dims earlier, which also doesn't add any comfort in playing games. All power-hungry tasks like editing and LumaFusion have the same effect: heat and low brightness. And no matter how strange it sounds, the 12th model has no such problems. Yeah, of course, it can also cut down frequencies, but from my own experience, I noticed that much less often, significantly less often. As for the Pro and Pro Max models, everything is quite simple here. The differences are too small to dedicate a large section of this video, so let me point out just one fact. The choice between Pro and Pro Max depends solely on your size preference. I would take Pro because for me Pro Max is too big, but the choice between 12 Pro and 13 Pro depends on your goals and objectives. The 13 Pro has only two advantages. It shoots 10-bit ProRes and can do 1080p cinematic videos. To be honest, these differences matter to a very small percentage of people. If you were never interested in ProRes video shooting, you will not see any difference between these two phones. Cinematic mode, a funny toy to entertain yourself with a couple times and forget afterwards. Yes, it blurs the background beautifully, but in my opinion, it's not something worth buying a new smartphone for. Therefore, if you can choose between 12 Pro and 13 Pro, I would recommend taking 12. And all oligarchs watching this should go for the 13 Pro. Well, what can I say about new products? iPhone 14 and the 14 Pro. If you've never owned an iPhone before, or have an iPhone 6, iPhone 8, or even an iPhone 10 right now, feel free to buy the iPhone 14. This is an excellent device in every sense of the word. Not only will you get an updated system with all its advantages, but you will also get an extremely powerful device with a 4nm processor, which is much more powerful than the predecessors and at the same time requires less energy and generates less heat, which is extremely important. Consider only the fact that when buying an iPhone 14 in the US, you will have to give up an old school SIM card. Apple has ditched the SIM card tray in the US, and now eSIM has been made a main standard. For me personally, this is not a problem. But how about an iPhone 14 Pro? Do you need it? Of course you need it. This is a completely new design, a new approach to software and the perception of the device. However, the internet is skeptical about the new dynamic island. I personally love all innovations, but for you it will be better to check it out in the store first. Of course, a full review on the iPhone 14 Pro is coming soon. Even if you don't care about that dynamic peninsula, there still are some Pro additions that may interest you. The all-new front-facing camera, the 48-megapixel main camera, improved lens system, action mode. No. Stop. Let's dwell on each point. The 48-megapixel sensor is really a huge difference and the photos are much crisper, more detailed. Cinematic mode in 4K 24 FPS. Finally, we can shoot with the cinematic frame rate. Earlier, I said that buying an iPhone 14 is only worth it if you have an outdated device, but the situation with Pro models is different. This update is worth spending money on. Yes, all these innovations do not sound so global, but if the camera system is vital for you, then I haven't seen a better camera than in the iPhone 14 Pro. It would be interesting to look at the Google Pixel 7 with their notorious algorithms, but if we're talking only about the iPhones, then the 14 Pro has no competitors. Okay, but where did the iPhone 14 Plus go? Personally, I don't think it makes much sense. Feel free to type your perception in the comments below. For me, the size preference is the main factor to look at. 14 and 14 Plus are identical in every way except the size. The same goes for Pro models. If you want a tablet-like screen, take 14 Plus or 14 Pro Max and enjoy. Otherwise, there are absolutely no differences. And what smartphone do you have and will you upgrade? Let me know your opinions in the comments below. In the meantime, go ahead and click on this video and this one, and see you in the next one.